everyone, this is Ruan, and in the last couple of days I shared a video with you about beta testing SplashDash, my new software as a service that really allows you to communicate with several different API integrations that a lot of marketers use. And so I've been in the SEO game for about 6.5 years now, 7 years. And my agency, Develomark.com, we work with a lot of clients that are primarily local-based businesses, home services, medical, legal, etc. And a lot of the times we use a lot of these tools to generate conversions and really find competitor analysis and do all this stuff. But we find it's really hard to share these links really quickly with clients in different reports. And that's really what I built SplashDash for. And so what I want to do today is I want to give you a comprehensive overview of how the product works, show you all the different actions, educate you on the different actions, and really allow yourself to immerse into the vision of the platform so that you can get better at SEO, you can teach SEO, you can educate your clients on SEO, and you can do it all while white labeling your logo and your URL. So the system is pretty straightforward. There's an action bar, which is you can search for things. So if I wanted to do like a keyword, I could see all the different actions that populate keywords. Or if I wanted to do, let's say, backlink, I could see all the actions that populate backlinks, etc. Or I can search by data source. Now, I just wanted to keep this in mind for you guys that this is pretty early on. So the data sources that continue to be available with this platform are going to be pretty intense because we really want to scale up the different types of data sources that you have. So we have complete control of creating reports based on the data sources. And in the near future, we may do something where you can create them too. So I'm just going to go ahead and kind of show you how they work. So if I wanted to run a backlink overview with the integration SEMrush, which is one of my favorite tools when it comes to doing SEO, I can simply type in a URL and start to gather backlinks for that URL. So for this case, I'm going to type in Develomark.com. Now, backlinks, as you are aware, are really important to increase a site's domain authority. And domain authority is really a metric that Moz and SEMrush have used to see how likely a website is to rank at the top of the search results. So as it's getting its report ready, it's going to crawl that data from the different data sources to provide you with that action. And then you'll see a report that looks something like this. Now keep in mind that this report and every single report will look different. But the cool thing about it is it not only gives you that contextual SEO data that's filterable, so you can filter through that data if you'd like, paginated, so it gives you all of the results that you would need, but you can do things like save that data, copy backlinks, etc. And at the bottom, it'll give you an AI summary of that data as well. But just by looking at my backlink portfolio, you can see a couple of the different data points: the source URL, the anchor text that's used, the page title, the authority score, when it was first seen, when it was last seen. Generally speaking, when I'm talking to a client, I always like to know what backlinks they're getting. This allows me to start a conversation with them of where they are currently gathering different mentions. So for example, if I was looking at Develomark and this was my client, if I was my own client, I would see that I had just made this website Precision Dip Coding. The reason why that's backlink is because towards the bottom, our logo is usually there. So a lot of our backlinks is going to be with that. So I always like to do research of what the business is being mentioned on. And in reality, a lot of the times when you pull a backlink overview, different engines give you different results. So if I pulled this on SpyFu, or if I pull this on Ahrefs, or if I pull this on Majestic, these are all different SEO tools that I use. They're always going to give me different results. So I always like to cross-check those results to make sure I'm providing my client with the utmost responsible information. Now, towards the bottom, you can share this as a link. So if I actually went ahead and put this into a URL, I can share this as a link so the client can see that. So you'll see a URL. They'll be able to see the actual link just like this when you share it. So going back, that's kind of how the backlink overviews work. Then I can compare backlinks. So let's say I wanted to compare backlinks between Develomark.com and let's say another client of ours, ctskin.com. So with the backlink comparison, this is important because if I'm working with a brand new business, I may use this as a selling point. I may want to tell them where they have backlinks, where their opportunity is, and where their competition has backlinks and where their competition is currently beating them at. Generally speaking, when it comes to SEO, the higher your authority score or the more backlinks you have, granted their quality, the more likely it is you're going to rank on the Google search results for the target keyword that you're positioning. I made a video yesterday you should go check out that talks about how I'm currently getting results for our SEO clients. But a lot of this comes with referring domains and comparing domains to make sure that the authority score increases. So in this case, if I were to put my money and I had to put my bet of where each of these domains would rank for the same keyword, most of the times I would put my money on the one that has a higher authority score. But keep in mind, authority score is not the only way that a domain is going to rank. Generally speaking, there is also the topical authority, which is what that domain talks about. If I tried to rank digital marketing services on a med spa website, like the one we designed here, generally speaking, that's not going to work. Just like that's not going to work if I tried to rank Botox on this website. Generally speaking, topical authority has a huge component to play too. So oftentimes I find myself wanting to send my clients a quick snapshot of a report like this, and SplashDash gives me the ability to do just that, just dialed into this kind of report that I can share with them as a link with my agency's logo on it. So then there is the broad match keywords, and really what this is it's good for PPC or generally speaking devising an SEO strategy. I use multiple keyword research tools, and that's kind of the whole promise and idea of SplashDash is to leverage a lot of the different tools in one platform. So if I wanted to, let's say, rank for affordable SEO as a primary keyword on Develomark.com, I would then type this keyword in here, and then SplashDash would fetch that data using SEMrush's database, and then it would provide me with all of those keyword phrases that you can see here. Generally speaking, one of my favorite things to do is filter by low competition, because these are keyword phrases that have been identified that are pretty easy to rank, generally speaking, if your domain authority is above the competition. So the difficult keyword phrases, of course, I tend to try to stay away from these if they have a really high cost per click, especially when I'm building the domain reputation of a website. But if the website I'm working with has a high domain authority, then I usually start targeting the ones that are the highest at the top of the search results. And so if I wanted to rank for these keywords, I would copy the keyword phrases, and let's say I would just basically write content around those keyword phrases. And with SplashDash, I can quickly copy all of that information and then see all of that stuff directly inside of here. Or I can also download it, etc., and use however I would see fit. But generally speaking, the way we've organized this information is we've identified the cost per clicks of different keyword phrases for paid and organic. Where organic, there is no cost per click, but generally speaking, the higher the cost per click is for a keyword phrase, the higher the competition score is going to be. So usually the cost per click determines how difficult it is to rank for, because that makes the keyword a lot more competitive. For example, you may want to target keywords organically that have no cost per click, or in PPC, because no one's ever going to bid for them. So things like affordable SEO, this town, affordable SEO, this town, those are really too small for people to target. So generally speaking, there's going to be no competition, but that could be a strategy in itself, targeting the keywords that have little to no competition, because you want to quickly outshine the competition or show the client that you're working for that you can rank them at the top of the search results. Same thing like with affordable SEO packages up to 1K. Remember, these are pages that I can develop on our website, and we have a really good strategy of doing that I'll share in a later video. But ultimately, I probably wouldn't spend time optimizing for this keyword. I'd probably go for something a little bit higher because of my domain authority. So that's kind of how that works, right? We're clicking into an action, we're clicking into an integration, we're getting that data back, and then we're sharing it with the actual client or the person that we're working with in a pretty simple fashion. Now, let's say I wanted to figure out who is overlapping keywords with me, so I can start to generate ideas of what competitors to look at from an organic standpoint. So this is where we kind of switch it up a little bit, and now we're using SpyFu's data to find our top 51 competitors, who the largest competitor is based on overlapping keywords and how many clicks they get. And then I can start to gather ideas of who's ranking for what, and I can take this data back to our client and report to them who it is that we have to pay attention to and why we're paying attention to them. So if I filter by organic clicks, this is the top competitor that we have in the area. It's called Works Branding. And from a real business perspective, we have come across them every so often. but it's not really our main competitor from a business standpoint, but it is a competitor from an organic SEO standpoint. So if somebody typed in SEO agency in our area, this is definitely the domain that we're going to share a lot of the keywords with. And that's really important when you're executing an SEO strategy. It's all about the art of war, which is really understanding what your competition is doing and doing better than what they're doing to attract the better clientele. Or if you're doing this for a customer, you need to understand what the competition is doing, especially if you're fighting for a top search result on Google search engines. For example, one of the search results that we've had for a very long time is mold removal CT for one of our clients, BioClean. And you can see that this result has been here for quite a long time in the fact that we've been doing SEO for a couple of years now. So it's not something that's going to stay there forever. So if you don't stay proactive, you will lose this ranking result. And I do want to come back to this in just a little bit here, but I wanted to show you why I would go down in these lists here and why I may also communicate with this with our client of who has the top overlapping keywords and who's getting the most traffic in that area. And again, I can read the information or I can just look at the data visually laid out here. But going back to BioClean, one of the favorite actions that we've created, and keep in mind their goal with this in the near future is to keep creating more and more actions because the integrations are pretty limitless of what we can do. And so if I look at domain ranking keywords and I put in that domain that I talked about, BioClean, I really quickly wanted to show you how I would go about an SEO strategy using this action to generate more leads and more traffic for this business. So if I go to domain ranking keywords, I can see a lot of the keywords that they're ranking number one for. And the cool part about this is, again, just because we're number one for it right now doesn't mean we're going to stay number one for this keyword for the rest of our lives. So what our SEO team does on a monthly basis to keep those ranking results like I showed you here, what we do on a monthly basis is we'll go through keywords that have top ranking results and keywords that are trending to have the top ranking results. So for this page, the URL is pretty obvious. It's talking about dust and mold, where the ranking is here is dust and mold. And so we may want to update this page by adding more content to it, by changing the structure, adding more LSI keywords, adding an FAQ section, adding a video, adding a photo, whatever it's going to take to get this URL to be updated every single month. And then we'll report that to the client, the URLs that we did work on. Because just by looking at this URL, it's ranking really well and it only has text. Now, the reason why it's ranking well, which I covered in my last video, is that the website has a high domain authority because of all of the SEO we've done to it in the past. And so with that higher domain authority, they gather the luxury of ranking for keyword phrases pretty quickly. So let's go back to the data. So with this report, I'll be able to see what their top keyword phrases are. And of course, I'll be able to look through the different paginations so that I can get a clear understanding of what keywords they're ranking at the top for. This is one that it was really interesting because one of my friends was ranking this keyword and I wanted to show him the capability of what you can do with a domain when you have good domain authority. So I'll kind of show you that example really quick. So I'm going to do the compare metrics tab, which is going to allow me to compare two different domains. And what I want to do is I want to show you how this actually works and why I was so confident in ranking this result at the top of the search engine. So this is one of my good friends' websites. And just as friendly competition, I wanted to show him what happens when you have stronger domain authority and why you should put a deeper focus on building your client's brand and not necessarily just their technical SEO. So just right off of the bat, I can see from the insights that SplashDash provides me, BioClean's domain authority is a 20, where Anthony's abatement is a 13. Keep in mind, two way different businesses, and this is not to say that he's not doing a good job at all. That's not what this is about. It's more about the URL metrics. If our client is ranking it has a domain authority of 20, and the competition has a domain authority of 13, it's pretty straightforward that we're gonna get this top ranking result over the competition. And the reason for that is because of the domain authority. Look at it as votes. The more your domain authority, the more people trust you talking about the topic that you're discussing. So you can see in the zero-click world, you have the ranking result like this, you have the ranking result there, and you have the ranking result there. That's ideally what you want to get into when you have the zero-click economy. Now, in our last video, I talked about how I send traffic to these pages with external resources like meta ads to generate more clicks, which ultimately makes the site reporting healthier. And I truly believe it ranks it higher in the search results because Google does not like a website with dead or fake visitors. So just by looking at this report, if I were to take one of these clients, I would promise the pink one in this case, which is our brand color. In the future, if you have SplashDash, you're going to be able to change that so it's your brand color and your logo. I would choose BioClean simply because of the fact that it has a higher domain authority, but that doesn't mean this one can't keep up. And that's kind of what I'm talking about and why you should be doing reports often and keeping a close eye on the competition. And this also affects the traffic, but you can see the blue bar starting to rise there. So it's really great to see that because he's doing effective SEO on that project, which is going to ultimately allow him to rank for higher keyword phrases when the time comes. So that's why I really, really like looking at where the areas of opportunity are. And you can see for the first top 5 results for this, they're all number 1, but that's pretty uncommon when you look for a different business. Another great way to use domain ranking keywords is to change this by search volume. And now you'll be able to see which keyword phrases have the highest amount of search volume. So what does mold smell like? And what does mold smell like? Early stage of mold in mattress. And as you can imagine, the content is talking about that exactly. So really, really great SEO strategy to start taking a look at your clients' rankings or your rankings, looking at what they're already ranking for, and then optimizing those pages with SEO content that you're creating. Ideally, you're using a ChatGPT that's created for them. We call those MyGPTs, and you're adding some sort of function or some sort of media to that page to make it different than a lot of the other pages as well. So that's how I will start to use the domain ranking keywords. There is a different way to do that too, and you can do this with your competition, and that's really looking at the top website pages. So if I put in our client's website here and I did an audit of their top website pages by organic traffic, now keep in mind, if I already have the client, I may want to use something like Google Search Console for this. The data is going to be a lot more accurate. But in this case, I'm assuming that BioClean has come to us and they have asked us for help. So in this case, I'm going to get a really quick picture of what's going on with their brand. I can tell they're writing topical content. I can tell the keywords are in the URLs, which are important. I can tell that they're blogging pretty often. I can tell that their homepage is actually not their most popular page, but they are ranking for a pretty significant keyword called mold remediation Connecticut. So that's really good because that's a money keyword. As you can see when I look at this report, the keyword volume isn't necessarily as high, but I can promise you the cost per click for that keyword is significantly higher than the cost per click is for a keyword like what does mold smell like. So money keywords are just as important as long tail LSI question-based keywords, but you should develop an SEO strategy that allows you to reach all of them. So as I go through the paginations here, I can see that a lot of the keywords that we're targeting are directly based on the keywords they want to rank for. So with the broad match keywords that I showed you a little bit before, if I were to go here and I were to type in mold removal, as a keyword phrase, and I were to gather those keywords, I would start to organize a website and digital ads that I can send to that page, regardless of the size of the budget, to start ranking them for those terms. So I can run an audit and see of which keywords here I don't currently have on my website. And then according to the results, as you can see here, a lot of keywords will rank if they have a custom URL for that term. This term is how to test for mold. Well, guess what? How to test for mold in the air ranks as a result of that at the top of the search results. I don't know exactly where it is. It's on the first page. But ultimately, I want to add as many keywords as possible to our client's site where there's an exact URL for that keyword on an exact page. I wanted to let you guys know that the platform that I use to make websites, which makes it really, really easy, is called Duda, D-U-D-A. And I have found that when you're doing local businesses who don't necessarily have gigantic budgets, but they have a good business that's been around for a long time and they have a good age of business, meaning their domain authority is usually a little bit higher than, let's say, a 15 or a 20. Generally speaking, Duda is the perfect platform to build their content at scale. So going back into SplashDash, there is also a lot of different things that you can do when it comes to actually looking at related keywords with other platforms as well. So I would probably not listen to the advice of just one SEO tool. So in this case, I may want to also run a keyword report on SpyFu because it might give me a completely different overview of the types of keywords that are ranking or getting traffic. So this one's interesting, car detailing mold removal near me, which is actually a keyword that they want to rank for, and there they are. So they're number one, and I didn't even know that. But ultimately, you want to look at the different options of the different tools because they all gather data a different way, and that's exactly what we're trying to accomplish with SplashDash. So I hope this video has been a little bit more insightful on how to use SEO tools to generate more traffic, how I'm using SEO tools to generate more traffic. And these clients are giving us a monthly retainer to manage the service for them. So it's in our best interest to make sure we leverage the newest technology possible. Now, if you're also interested, there is a beta test that we're doing. So you can actually utilize SplashDash to generate SEO reports. You get a lot of free credits, and we just want your feedback. We just want to know what you thought of it. We just want to know what's useful, what you don't like about it. We want to know that information, so we're willing to give you the platform for free. Test it. So check out this page if you're interested, and I'll see you guys in the next video.